guys, today we are going to work on comparing and contrasting in reading. Comparing and contrasting is when you look at two different things and you tell what things they have in common, like the things that are the same about those, and then things that are different. So for example, if we talk about apples and oranges, something that is similar between the two is that they're both fruits. Another thing that is similar between the two, another thing they have in common is that they are both healthy for you and they contain a lot of nutrients. Now, some differences is that apples are red, oranges are orange. Oranges are they're like a citrus fruit, which means that they can be a little bit sour sometimes. Apples are more sweet. So when we talk about similarities and differences, that's what we mean with comparing and contrasting. So I'm just going to do a really quick little example for you, because today you are going to be completing this activity on Seesaw, and you are going to be telling what is similar between Robert's dad and Charlie's dad. So you're going to tell me what things they have in common. Okay, the things that are the same about them. For example, they both helped work on the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. So that's something that they have in common. That's a similarity. And then differences that they have. So right here, you'll say the differences that Robert's dad has and the differences that Charlie's dad has. Okay, so to help you with this, I'm going to do a quick example for you. And yes, last week we read Destiny's Gift. So we are going to compare and contrast Destiny and Mrs. Wade. So hopefully you didn't forget too much about that story last week. So I'm going to write Destiny and Mrs. Wade. So I'm going to compare and contrast these two characters. What is something that they have in common? What's a similarity between Destiny and Mrs. Wade? What's something that is the same about them? Well, they both go to the bookstore, right? They're at the bookstore a lot. So the first one is they both go to the bookstore a lot. Another similarity that they have between the two is, excuse me, is that they both love words, right? They both love reading and they both love words. And learning new words. If you remember from the story, they had a word every day, and they would talk about that word, about what it means, kind of like a new vocabulary word every day. Let's talk about some differences now. So I have two similarities. Let's come up with some differences. So here is going to be Destiny. What is something that Destiny is, what is a way that Destiny is different from Mrs. Wade? Well, something that you might be thinking is that she's younger, right? She's just a little girl. She's a kid. Mrs. Wade is an adult. So Destiny is a little girl. What's another thing that what's another way that Destiny is different from Mrs. Wade? And you know what? If you're struggling with this when you're doing Pops Bridge, when you're doing your Seesaw activity, you can definitely use your textbook. That would be an amazing resource to use. So if I was struggling with this, I would use my textbook to see a way that Destiny is different than Mrs. Wade. One thing comes to mind for me is that she organizes a block party. Okay, Mrs. Wade doesn't do that. She does that for Mrs. Wade. She organizes a block party, and that's to raise money for Mrs. Wade's bookstore. Okay, now we're going to go over to here, and this is going to be Mrs. Wade. So let's come up with two differences, two ways that, excuse me.
Good morning, Milligan staff. I'm sorry to make the announcement, and I pray I did not interrupt any recordings. But we will be on a soft lockdown until further notice, which means you are free to move amid the inside of the building, but we are not exiting the building at this time. Again, we are on a soft lockdown. We are loading and unloading students buses to front doors directly, but we are on soft lockdown until further notice. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm on a soft lockdown here at school, but everything's okay. Anyway, a way that Mrs. Wade is different from Destiny is that Mrs. Wade is an adult, right? She owns a bookstore. Oops, I was going to write Destiny. That's why I should write in pencil. Mrs. Wade is an adult. And she also owns a bookstore, right? Destiny does not own a bookstore. So this is just a little example for you when you are working on comparing and contrasting Charlie's dad with Robert's dad in this seesaw activity. Okay, so remember that Robert is the boy that tells the story. Okay, Charlie is the boy that he was friends with in the story, but Robert was the one that was telling the story. So Robert's dad was the Skywalker. Okay, that's what he called him. He was the one building the bridge. Charlie's dad was a painter. Like I said, if you want to go back in your journey textbook, that would be an amazing resource for you to use as you're filling this out. I would like for you to come up with two similarities and two differences for each dad, just like I did here. Okay, so I hope you guys have fun with this, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with. Bye, guys.